Pues es que no quiero con la legalidad, no está, no, de la ya, pero...
Ok. Por favor. ¿Empezamos?
Hi, hello everyone. The part of the city that we worked on was Pau de Vallecas. So in this first slide, we kind of state the current situation and kind of where we are and where we would like to go. So we were lucky enough to have this previously made from some of us, like a section of how the boulevard is actually divided and the large scale of it and how it's divided between cycling, green spaces, the sidewalk, parking and road traffic. But this is fine, but this is actually the reality that we can find there, which is a huge scale, very dehumanizing and very like empty spaces. And we would like to move towards a 15-minute city with a polycentric structure where we could walk to the places and we could find a social environment to...
And all the amenities.
Exactly, so all the amenities and all the services and also having like a social mesh inside this area and connected to the surrounding areas as well. So we go to the next slide. What we did was to combine the SWOT analysis from everyone and our own and divide it into the three aspects of a city: the urbs, the civitas, and the polis. So just from a first glance, we can see that the Pau de Vallecas is quite strong, but also a bit weak in the building aspect, in the tangible aspects. Then, because this is the only of the four cases that is not really made to solve social problem of housing, but is more responding to political and economical reason of being, right? So we can see that the threats and the weaknesses in the social aspect, in the people's aspect, are quite big. And then when it comes to the political aspect, the police, it's kind of all over the place. It has some very good qualities and some terrible ones, and there are big threats and big opportunities. So we're going to start analyzing them a little bit. So when it comes to the buildings and the urbs, the strength is that the urban blocks are quite well maintained. They're architecturally of high quality and they're quite well built. There are some, although symbolic, sustainability ideas, so that it's not something that we need to introduce, even though it's more of a marketing strategy than anything else. It's already in the neighborhood and in the name of the Eco Boulevard, so that's something that we can work on. And it has a typological diversity, so sometimes these, for example, in our casitas, we could see that the typology was quite repeated. It was more of a copy-paste situation, whereas here, between the public and private, and within the public and private, every block was different. So it did help to create that diversity that is always welcome. However, the weaknesses is that there is a huge lack of a human scale, right? Everything is massive and everything is far away, and it never seems like you're in a city. You're more in like an open space with scattered buildings and no social life. Then the public space is very disorganized because it doesn't really lead to anywhere. It doesn't really have places where you can connect, where you can move to and from. And also the architectural expression, the architects that built each of the blocks seem to be more important than the people living in them, because there was no participation process at all. So they were just told to create a living space and they did whatever they wanted. And it was not thinking of the people, it was thinking of their own work and their own production. One of the opportunities in this area is that there's a lot of room for improvement. And we mean that in a very literal and a very figurative way. There's so much space available that it's just waiting to be activated, to be created. And at the same time, so many things are wrong. We can't get any worse, basically, in some aspects. So there is room for improvement. And then the threats is that, I don't really know what it says there. that they get further isolated from the consolidated city because it's already an isolated place, but it could get even worse. And that, everything is very dependent. Very dependent. I still have to go through this and this stuff. It's still very dependent on the car, and that can increase to a point where everything around the area doesn't matter because it's only point A, the blocks, and point B, the city, and the space between just becomes a wasteland, right? So from a social point of view, we're going to try to go a bit quicker. There's a strong neighborhood association, which we didn't perceive when we were there, but one of the groups, I don't know who it was, wrote it down, and we were like, really? And then we looked it up, and they have a website, and they actually, yesterday or today, they had an assembly to try and bring proposals so that in the participation process that exists in Madrid, they could build something for themselves, which we think is amazing, so thank you to whoever suggested it. The weaknesses, there's no social identity, there's no participation that we can see like tangible, and there's no social life, there's no one there, because again, it was not bottom up, it was just imposed, and then the people there just had to kind of adapt to what there is. They never asked anyone what they wanted, they just did it and placed the people there. So the opportunities is for bottom-up initiatives for the public spaces particularly, and also those public spaces are possibilities for integration with the people. And the threats are similar to these, that it becomes further isolated, but we're talking from a social point of view, and where there's people from there that live there but don't really have any connection with anyone else because they go by car to different places, so it's basically a gated community. There are no job opportunities in there, there's only housing and very, very few services. And also that social mess continues to deteriorate until there's no connection between the people living there. And finally, the political aspect, something that the strength is that it is a cheap rent opportunity for young families, middle-class families. Every building has amenities, the basic ones covered, because they're recently built and the quality is quite good. So they don't really need to ask for anything else on the basic level. There's coexistence of private and public housing, which also the number is also 70-30 for the public and private, or 60-40. So we think it's a good number. And it's not a stereotype public housing initiative like we'll just build like a blanket of the same building. So then when you go there, it's like, oh yeah, this is the public housing. Even if it's not lower class and it's not stigmatized, it's still like a very unified block, so that's also strength. And it comes from the project itself, not from the architect, but from the political system. The weaknesses, the urban planning is poor, we said that already. Lack of participation processes, they never asked anyone what they wanted. There's no equipment, no healthcare, no schools, no parks, no sports facilities, nothing. No shops. You have to go to La Gavia by car because there's no way, oh, you forgot the bread. Back in the car, grab again, get out, get the bread again. And then back communication with the citizens about participation and increased services. This is what Felix was saying in Batista. He was going to a neighbor's house because they didn't know they could call 010 and have it fixed. They had the person in the city council go to their house and probably just call and do that himself. So there's no movement from the political system to equip people with the tools to fix their own problems because they don't know how to navigate the bureaucracy of the political system. Opportunities. There could be support for small businesses, a plan to financially help them, but also help them with publicity, with other stuff, so that there could be more services inside the neighborhood. There's room for improvement, we've said already, but it should come from the political system. And there's plenty of room, physical room, for activation in the street. So we could have public programs of come out and see the street market, see the show, see something, and then once we have the people out from their little blocks, ask them, what do you want? We have this wall, get a post-it and write what you would like for the neighborhood. So through that we could engage them into the process. And then finally, the threats are that the low maintenance could turn into full abandonment. Vandalism, of course. What's it say there? The complete disappearance of the shops because there's a monopoly with the shopping center, and that it's not going to be attractive for new investors, and it's just going to be empty. Right, so this is basically an overlay of the past three things, so we can compare how socially, constructively, and politically it's a very different place from the different perspectives. Moving on. Right, so one of the things that we decided is to do it in stages, right? We don't want to do everything at once because we can do the easier and higher impact things in the beginning and then slowly move to more complex, more time-consuming things. So luckily, again, we had Kritika, who had this amazing scheme of something that we could apply to Vallecas. So by getting the people out to farmers market, some sort of activation.
Activate the central space, basically, which is a big topic in the whole area. And we thought we should have like biospheres, we should have bike lanes, and some kind of a weekly market or a permanent like cafe or related to urban farming and things like that, just to bring the people down to the ground floor.
Yeah, so with very little investment and little time, you could announce it now, do it next week. You get people out, people realize that the public space is usable, we ask them for things, and then we go to the next step. Right?
And they already have some cafes and things like that. It just like needs to be like really pushed.
So we were talking about the targets for the sustainable goals, and the three that we thought that this could aim at were reducing environmental impacts, providing access to safe public space for everyone, and implementing policies for inclusion and bringing people together. Right. So stage 2 would be from a more environmental point of view, but also including everyone, having urban farms, but also, what do we call it? Community gardens, yeah. So you get people out, you get them involved, you improve many aspects of the neighborhood. This does take a bit more money, a bit more funding, a bit more time, but now we have people engaged, and we have this new opportunity for people to connect. And connected to that, but not exactly the same, is that we could use grey water from the buildings to, once we have used plants to kind of get rid of all the toxic and the contamination, we can use it for watering all the green spaces, which are not very well taken care of right now, using green roofs, and kind of use the target the environmental problems and the environmental objectives. Alright, so on a third level, what we would like to do is, through sustainable and efficient transportation, improve the connection not only with the city but within the big Pau area, which is massive. We visited a little corner that we're going to see now where it was, but this is huge, and we need a way to activate and connect it. So through bike lanes, through using the Lidiane system that is only inside the M30 and placing it outside as well, we can improve the connection. And yeah. So what we propose is, this is the entire Pau area. This is what we visited. So this is all the rest that we have no idea what it's like. It's basically very similar. So the idea is to create polycenters, like small neighborhoods within the whole district. And those white dots would be with the old city of Vallecas integrated in it, because of course it is part of it. To have centers for the people, with not only the shopping mall, but little centers.
Also for like mobility connection, like bus stops.
Bus stops, schools, healthcare centers, everything. So through this bike lane and mobility schemes, we could, and green spaces as well, we could create green corridors with efficient mobility and different centralities to reactivate the whole area, and also create small centralities. But also this could be the beginning of a new consolidated area within Madrid, and stop being a peripheral Pau of sorts.